4. There's also on BBC Two at 1:20 Mr Ben as the Seesaw programme, and that'll be followed by Music Time. Have a nice day. Now it's time for Playdays, and the bus stops today at the Patch Stop.
It's a play bus! But where does it go? Where does it stop? Watch for the sign of the lollipop. It's the Patch Stop with Peggy Patch.
Peggy Patch is out today. She's found a patch to stop and play. Where will it be? Who will she meet? Perhaps she stopped at the end of your street. Peggy's got off the bus, but where's she stopped today? Can you guess? I'll give you some clues. It's a watery place with pools and waterfalls and a rushing noise. Can you guess where she is? She's beside a river in Wales and she wants to explore. Take care, Peggy. You've got to be very careful beside water. Why don't you take a look round with her? It's ever so noisy here. That's because the river is running downhill, smashing and crashing over the rocks. How many words can you think of that sound like water? Splishing, splashing, sploshing, boiling, bubbling, babbling. There's some bubbling bits over there, and the water's all frothy. And lots of mini waterfalls where the water's splashing over the rocks. And there are even some places where the water looks like it's stopped in still, deep, calm pools. I'm on an island between the big river over there and the small river here. And the small river goes under a house. Ooh, mind I don't slip. Made it. The river's divided into two further up the hill, and some of it comes down that pipe and into the house. It's called a powerhouse, and one of Peggy's friends has lent me the key. I'm going to take a look inside. Oh, it's dark in here and noisy. There's the pipe. The water in the pipe operates the machinery that makes electricity. The water comes down the pipe into the drum and turns the machinery. And the electricity travels along the wire and out of the house. There are the electricity wires, and they go across the field, down into the village and into a house, where it means they can turn on their fire, their lights, or even their television. And all because of the water in the river. Peggy's found a creature in the river to say hello to. Say hello to this creature. A creature with a scaly body, a fanned tail, with lots of teeth, and a round, staring eye. It's a brown trout. People fish for brown trout. You'd often see the fisherman actually standing in the river when he's fishing for trout. The trout like the deep, still pools where they can lie in wait for a creature to eat. But you might be lucky enough to spot one as it sticks its head above the water to catch an insect. Peggy knows what trout look like swimming underwater. Peggy, you've got your book. The title's written in Welsh.
Yes, it's called Storiau Cornel y Cai, or Stories from the Corner of the Field. One day, Margaret Llywodyn the Mouse saw her friend Carado Cwningen the Rabbit rushing along Primrose Street into his house and banging the door behind him. I wonder what's wrong with him, thought Margaret. Perhaps Pero, Mr. Pew's dog, is after him. Margaret stood by her window expecting to see Pero the black dog sniffing along Caradog's path. But no, Pero didn't appear. What was worrying Caradog? She would have to go and ask. Margaret knocked at Caradog's door. After a few minutes, the door opened gradually and Caradog's nose appeared, then one eye. "Oh, it's you, Margaret the Mouse," he said. "Come in." "What's wrong?" asked Margaret. "You look very frightened." "I've heard a very unpleasant story today," said Caradog. "When I was in the field amongst the sheep just now, I saw Caddy Cwningen the rabbit, and she told me that Sionin the fox had been there last night trying to catch a rabbit for his supper, and Caddy thinks that he might come here to this field tonight." "Oh, dear," said Margaret. No wonder Caradog was frightened. Sionin was a sly and bad old fox. He'd been cheeky enough to steal some hens from Mr. Pew's farm, and he'd be delighted to be able to catch Caradog if he could, and eat him up. "Don't worry, Caradog bach," said Margaret. "We'll go and see Dio Drainog the Hedgehog and Thomas Twrch Daiar the Mole, and perhaps they'll be able to think of something." When Dio and Thomas heard that Sionin the fox intended coming to their field, they were determined to help Caradog. They thought and thought, and suddenly Thomas had an idea. "I know," he said. "We'll make a huge hole in front of Caradog's house, and we'll cover the hole with twigs and leaves. Then, when Sionin the fox comes searching for Caradog's house, he'll stand on the twigs and fall into the hole." "And then what?" said Caradog, knowing very well that Sionin was used to jumping into holes. "I'll roll over him and prick him with my needles," said Dio in a loud voice. "And I'll throw soil into his eyes so that he won't be able to see where he's going," said Thomas bravely. "And then he'll be sure to run away," said Margaret. By now, Caradog was feeling much better, but he didn't want to go out, so he stayed in his house and waited until night time. Whilst Caradog was indoors, Margaret went to see Wenna the squirrel to ask if she could borrow a bag of nuts. "I won't eat them," said Margaret to Wenna. "You'll get them all back tomorrow morning." When night fell, all the friends from Primrose Street were ready and waiting for Sionin. Everyone went to hide behind the hill and waited for Sionin the fox. Before long, they saw him coming quietly across the field with his tongue hanging out. "The old rascal," said Margaret. "He's going straight to Caradog's house." Sionin ran towards Caradog's home, and of course, he stepped onto the twigs and leaves which Dio and Margaret had put over the hole. The minute he stood on them, the twigs snapped and Sionin fell to the bottom of the hole. Dio ran out, curled himself into a prickly ball, jumped into the hole after Sionin and pricked him with his sharp needles. "Oh, oh, oh, oh!" yelled Sionin. Then Thomas started throwing soil into the hole until Sionin's eyes and ears were full of soil. Then Margaret came carrying a bag of nuts and she threw them at Sionin until his head and back were quite sore. "Ow! Oh! Oh! Oh!" he yelled, running out of the hole as fast as he could. And he never again came back to this field to look for a rabbit for his supper.
Do you want to feel its coat? Your hand, feel its coat.
Feels all fluffy, sort of.
And there's ever such tight curls. Can you feel the tight curls?
Yeah. It's really tiny.
Do you want to see if you two boys can go off and if you collect lots of different things and you can bring them back, collect them in this egg box, and Paul and I'll stay here and we'll close our eyes and try and guess by feeling what you've collected. We'll sit and talk to the van. You're settled
You might
down
get
now,
a stone
aren't you?
even.
They might.
I've got a snail thing to go.
Oh.
They'll find a box if we close our eyes.
We could find out. We could see if it was soft or if it was wet.
If it was hard or something.
Yes. Or cold.
Yeah.
Or wet.
Or wet. Warm.
Yes.
Oh, I found a thing. Oh, I got another beautiful one. Come in. Skulls. Come in. Let's go and show him what we've got. Okay.
Is it on there?
Yeah.
Oh, it feels very light. Ah. I think I know what it is. Where's your hand?
It's a piece of sheep's wool. Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Ah, yes, I thought it was. It was so light, wasn't it? I didn't think you put anything on there. Right, close your eyes. Hold a piece. Oh, what's this? Oh, ha. Yes, I think I know what that is. Yes. There's your hand. What does that one feel like?
Is it a piece of holly? Yes. Yeah.
Is that holding the pins, isn't it, that one? Oh. 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 That one's a bit cold. Are you ready? What does that one feel?
I don't know.
Does it feel cold?
Yes.
Can you feel something wet as well?
Yes.
I think I know what it is. Shall I whisper what I think? Where's your ear? There's your ear.
It's a snail.
Yes. Ah, I thought so because I feel something wet in the end there.
And it had gone in when she was...
Oh. Oh, I hope not. Right, another one. What's that then? Oh. It's quite sharp. And smooth. Can you guess? Where's your hand? Do you know what it is?
Piece of twig or something. No.
Is it a stone?
No.
I give up.
Teeth. Sheep's teeth.
Oh,
yes.
Peggy Patch's puzzle. Peggy is sitting high on the hilltop and she can see something strange in the village. What is it? It was the top half of a lorry. When it's not fixed on, the lorry can carry coal because it's flat. When the two pieces are bolted together, the lorry can carry animals. That's my collection. Do you think we've got some good boats there? Do you think any of this will float? I think that will float well, won't it? And these leaves might, you see.
This might float.
Oh, that's a good boat, that one. Take most of this, really, and try it all out, can't we? All right. Arms full of boats. Off we go. Mountains spring clear and bright, wandering through the hills, singing on its way. I'd like to be that stream.
Bing bong, a bing bong bear. 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 Bing bong, a bing bong bear.
Pictures of this, pictures of that. I like your pictures, says Peggy Patch. Something you do or something you see. Why not draw it? Maybe send it to me. If I close my eyes and feel the leaves, it could be like the scales on a fish. Don't forget the brown trout, a creature with a scaly body, a fanned tail, with lots of teeth and eyes that never close. Oh, the bus has arrived. Pack your collection away, Peggy. It's time to go. Peggy's off to catch the bus. She'll find us another patch for next week. See you there.